Now I would like to introduce our first speaker. So Sami, please turn on your camera. Sami Ojamo is Managing Director of VDL Bus and Coach in Finland, and Sami is working in the commercial vehicle business, mainly for public transport, but also some truck and off-road related business for more than a decade, focusing on different areas: change management, sales, after sales, business management in Nordic countries. His biggest achievements are setting up new commercial tire business to Finland and building the Swedish and Norway organization for VDL. So please, Sami, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning from very snowy Helsinki. We have more than 60 centimeters of snow. So quite nice. I will share my presentation now. And I hope you can see now the first slide. I guess so. Okay, thank you for participating, for me allowing to participate in this nice event. And I have a quite short PowerPoint presentation related to procurement of electric buses, more the bigger picture than only looking at technical aspects. First of all, what is VDL? VDL is a family-owned company from Netherlands. We have 106 companies actually today, growing all the time, nearly 6 billion euro turnover, 16,000 employees in 20 countries. And we're divided into 4 different divisions: subcontracting, then we have car assembly, BMW and Minis in Netherlands, buses and coaches, focusing on Europe, and then finished products. And one of our vision and mission is that the manufacturing has future in Western Europe, while the future of Western Europe is in manufacturing. So we truly believe that also manufacturing has a place in Europe. But of course, in order to do that, you need to have some added values. Then for VDL Bus and Coach, what are we? Why we are talking here about e-mobility itself? We are basically a company that is producing bus and coaches in Europe, in Netherlands and in Belgium, and focusing mainly on European continent, in Nordics and in southern, western and middle parts. And then if we look at our company profile, we are really focused on partnership, e-mobility solutions, innovative products, and now more and more going towards e-mobility itself. And then as a European production, you cannot always have the lowest production cost. You need to have some other topics that you are competitive against the competition. And for us, it's really focusing on operational costs, efficiency of the vehicles, and then efficiency, meaning also the construction of the vehicle with innovative modularity, all sorts of techniques that you can reduce the vehicle weight. Hence, it means that you have less consumption, you need smaller batteries, and overall operational costs will go down, and also the performance will be quite high. Then if we look at our experience, and as we're talking about the e-mobility itself, since 2013, we've been working on e-mobility by ourselves. I have myself been involved also since the beginning. First, I was working for the operator itself to do first eBussed testers since 2013 in Finland. And then I joined later in 2016 for VDL to build the e-mobility in the whole Nordic sector in Sweden, Finland, and Norway. And here you can see also our achievements in different climates and in different parts of Europe. And here today we have more than 85 million kilometers done with electric vehicles. So we are also quite familiar with the ups and downs of the e-mobility implementation, building the vehicles, system involvement, all sorts of things. Then, as I have the impulse talk, I claim that combustion engine is dead, e-mobility is coming, like it or not. Here in my slide, I have a few shots. This is more than 500 electric vehicles in one slide from 5 different OEs. You have the VDL, 102 vehicles for Oslo, then 20 buses from MAN to Malmö in Sweden, France, 92 electric Citaros, Solaris, 100 electric buses for Milan, Volvo in Göteborg, so quite a big scope of electric buses. And of course, this is where I base my claim, e-mobility is coming. And then if we look at this, also to justify my saying is zero emission urban buses. Who is in the lead in 2019 registrations? Denmark, Luxembourg, Netherlands. You can see the blue here. Denmark is really 78% of new vehicles is electric vehicles. Luxembourg and Netherlands is coming also quite close. Then you see the Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden and Norway is also coming in the same level, I would say in the second position. And then once we go further on, Italy, Poland, Germany, UK, Spain, France, still 70% of the urban buses are not electric. But also some you have more than gas buses, and in some other countries you have quite a lot of hybrids, and then you have diesels. So, but if we look at on the e-mobility itself, it's rather small part. And then looking in total, 10% was newly registered vehicles were electric buses, and then you see some other countries where it is quite low amount of electric buses. But I would say battery electric vehicles are increasing all the time, and in 2020 you can see already a huge amount of electric buses are coming into traffic, either 2020 or 21 delivery. So for public transport, electric vehicles, they are here to stay. Then what does it mean? Because it's not only buying an electric vehicle and replacing it with a or replace that with in a diesel vehicle, but it's really a bigger topic that we need to address. And here is what we should take into account in the procurement session for the PTAs. First, you have an area or lines or contract that you need to change into e-mobility, but some things that you need to take into account is to analyze the route data and see how you can implement the electric vehicles in it, calculating the operating, which means that you have the charging system and the batteries, and how do you charge, which size of the charging equipment do you need. Then it's the implementations as it's a project, because you need to define the processes itself, but also building the buses, infrastructure, planning and testing and training. It is a quite vast project with a lot of stakeholders, especially now in the beginning. And then once that is all being built, you have the testing period for systems, training of staff. In a way, it sounds easy that you take out the diesel vehicle and put an electric vehicle in it. It doesn't change the driving itself, but it has some differences, and it needs training of staff, and it needs also a new kind of thinking, especially if it's the opportunity charging, because then suddenly you have a range of 100 kilometers per charge or per full battery. And for the bus driver, it means that you're basically leaving the depot with an empty tank compared to a diesel vehicle. So different mentality. And then the daily operation itself needs monitoring of processes and improving the system level. And you might need to change timetable slightly in order to be more efficient. And in order to do all this, the tender time has to be longer than in a normal internal combustion engine vehicles, gas or diesel vehicles. You cannot implement this within 6 months. You need minimum, I would say, 1 year to implement this, which means that the procurement process should start maybe 1.5 years before you want to have the vehicles in normal daily operations. But I will not go into technical details. I will take a bit different approach on these things to take into account as well. Procurement itself, I say that it is a system approach. The transition, what we are also talking here, it is in a way complex things. You have a lot of stakeholders, new players, new systems coming in. But then again, most of the European OEs, manufacturers, we offer turnkey solutions and help how to implement e-mobility, either towards the operator itself or for the cities. We have done this in different countries, different cities. We know what we are doing. And then, of course, one thing is to take into account in this technical topics. Then you have the timeline, and is the line suitable for e-mobility, and do we need different kind of battery and charging? Then you have another topic, because we are talking about government money, is the sustainability topic, battery life cycle management. Do you value this usage and energy efficiency of the vehicles? We have vehicles that are consuming quite a lot of energy and vehicles that are consuming a bit less energy. Then you come into the heating solutions. Do we do it with diesel, Webasto, or electric heating? Energy storage, second life for the batteries, is that a topic? Does it have a value? Recycling of the batteries. Then you have the transparency of the supply chains, selection of suppliers and monitoring. So of course this refers to where do you get the materials to build up the bus, and the raw materials for batteries and these kind of things. We all know discussion related to some raw materials, that are they coming from what kind of territory. Then you have this is also battery sizing. This is linked to sustainability. You have big battery packs. We all are increasing the battery packs bigger and bigger and bigger all the time, which means that we need more and more raw materials compared to having small battery packs that can have opportunity charging, which means that you charge them in the line operations. Opportunity charging is more complex than charging at the depot. So from the operational point of view, big battery packs are fantastic. But from the bigger scope point of view, big batteries pack are not so fantastic, because we consume much more raw materials for the batteries, lithium, cobalt, all sorts of things that we need to build up the batteries and how they've been built. So a short-term solution is big battery packs. Long-term solution could be something else. I cannot say what is the right one, but it should be at least revised. Vehicle production, how the vehicles are being produced, ISO certifications, material recycling, waste management. In Europe, we have REACH, which quite strictly tells you how to do the dangerous materials in the production. And then one topic, close to the customer production, meaning that you build it in a long way, thousands of kilometers away, or close to the client or the operation itself. Then I would take the second approach also, which is the big scope, is the social responsibility. We have EU's fundamental values: respect for human dignity, human rights, freedom, democracy, equality, rule of law. We need to comply all these, which is a value for Europe, but it also has cost. And then you have the workforce also linked to all those things above. Keeping the work and production is Europe to ensure our social and economical well-being. If we only look at lowest possible price, and we do not put any value on the mentioned topic, you might end up having a product or a system that does not meet the sustainability and social responsibility values. Then again, if we don't value those criteria, fine, but I think it should be discussed. Do we have a value for these things or not? If we lose the production of buses from Europe totally, it has an impact for all of us, and it should be taken into account. Then again, just to highlight, why do we still do this, as it's so complex and difficult, and there's a lot of aspects that you need to take into account compared to the previous years. Still, we want clean and sustainable energy with the electric, noise reduction, less pollution, no congestions, CO2 reductions, livable city, no local pollution. So it really has a big impact on the city when you go to electric vehicles. Regardless, are they pure electric with battery packs or are they electric with hydrogen? It's still a vehicle that doesn't have local pollution and no noise. And electric buses can also look quite nice. This is a bus from Sweden with a Mini Cooper orange color with black stripes. Buses can be attractive as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sami, for the very informative presentation. Are there any questions from the audience? If so, please use the chat box and type in your question. And I think we have a couple of minutes and could allow 1 or 2 questions before we move on in the program. Are there any direct questions for Sami? Okay, so I think your presentation, there's one question coming in. So someone is asking if VDL has experiences with trolley buses.
No, we don't. Simple and easy answer.
Any additional questions? Otherwise, of course, Sami will also join us later on during the panel discussion, so you will also have the possibility to ask questions later. Okay, if this is not the case, thank you very much, Sami, for now.
Thank you.
And there's one more question coming. Last minute question, Sami. So in your presentation, you can see that hydrogen has a very small place in the market. Do you expect that to increase, is the question from Robert.
Yes, hydrogen is increasing. Now, I think it will take some time. The production cost of hydrogen buses is quite high, so it is difficult to calculate the total cost of ownership to be attractive. I think that's one of the big challenges, and also the production of hydrogen, and also is it available in different countries. But yes, it is coming, especially on a long-term perspective.
Okay, thank you very much. So there will be the possibility to raise more questions later on. Now, that due to COVID, it's not possible that you are here in Hamburg with us. So we would, of course, also share some experience from our city here in Hamburg. And that's the reason why we would like to share with you another video and present what is the status here in Hamburg. And we have an example from the borough of Bergedorf. So there's a eBussed depot at Hamburg-Bergedorf. And I will share again a link to a YouTube video with you in the chat. The video will be about, I think, 7 minutes. And you will get to know more about the situation here and our experiences so far with regard to the eBussed developments and the depot in Hamburg-Bergedorf. So please click on the link and enjoy the watch.